Mom. What are you doing today?
Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence, an ideal rental setting for retirees to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We have bright 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, and wellness and entertainment programs. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Mom, call me when you're not so busy.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
A time for connection, a time to build community. Catholic school teachers spend the day learning from each other. I'm Kathy Harrington with the story.
I'm Steve Kiltonick in North Adams, where native son and Vietnam veteran Dennis Pregent is introducing his latest book, Berkshire Heroes in World War II.
And the Catholic Business Organization of Western Massachusetts recently hosted James Keyes, the former CEO of 7-Eleven. Nick Morganelli will have more on this Renaissance man and what his Catholic faith means to him. It's all just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel on this first weekend of November. Well, the school year has been in full swing for more than 2 months now, and last week Catholic school students were given the day off so that their teachers could head to the classroom. The annual Catholic School Teachers In-Service Day took place at Pope Francis Preparatory High School in Springfield. It's a day for Catholic teachers to network with their colleagues, to get support and share different ways to reach students. They all spent this day learning from their peers. Kathy Harrington was there and filed this report.
You say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say
Supplying the music for the opening Mass, the Pope Francis Preparatory School Choir. They, along with several altar servers, the only students in school. This day is for teachers.
Engage. Let this day be one where the Lord speaks to you in some way, professionally, spiritually, to allow ourselves to grow.
Once one of them, Bishop Byrne looked out at the auditorium filled with educators with a message: never stop learning.
I just hope that today that they connect with other teachers throughout the diocese and are able to form teams and PLCs or professional learning communities within themselves, so that they can call each other, ask questions, build on each other's strengths, and then come back and start sharing those throughout the diocese.
Bishop Byrne is a product of a Catholic school education. He says looking out into the auditorium was powerful.
To be there with these men and women who have given their life, just like my teachers did, to make the world better one student at a time, because they can teach the mind, the body, and the spirit.
In his keynote address, Our Lady of the Elms College President Harry Dumais emphasized the day's theme, planting the seeds of hope in Catholic education.
That is one of the things that you all do as Catholic educators. You spread the gospel of love.
Dr. Dumais told the teachers he's found 2 major purposes of education: the betterment of the whole person and the improvement of society. Every teacher can change lives.
Everyone has a story of a teacher who changed their perspectives, perhaps their whole life. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse.
Bishop Byrne recalls Mr. Abel, the English teacher who inspired him at Mater Dei School.
Went on to become an English major. And then I went back after college and taught at the school, and he was the head of school at the time. So I got to experience him not just as my teacher, but then as a colleague and mentor, and now as a dear friend. But I think often back about how he taught, but also his deep respect for the students.
The day included 2 breakout discussion sessions, with teachers separated by grade level and subject. The time allowing teachers to share what's working in the classroom and issues they find challenging. Learning from each other, these Catholic school teachers find value in their professional development day. Diane Zerwicki, a 4th grade teacher at St. Michael's Academy in Springfield, found this experience informative.
But you need the support, especially today's teaching is such a challenge. not only with the students that we have, but also with the parents and the way our world is going in general. It's a very, very difficult profession today.
I'm happy to be here.
For St. Mary High School theology teacher Luke Hall-Waddell, the day was good for morale.
I need to see that I'm part of something bigger than my little school. You know, we almost never get to work together. Like, what's working for them? What's not? Are they seeing the same challenges or different ones than I am? That's all really useful intel.
Closing out the day back in the auditorium, the breakout groups shared highlights of their discussions. Wagner recognizes curriculum support is the biggest challenge for the teachers.
I'd love to be able to provide them a curriculum map that provides a timeline for when things might be done so that nothing falls through the cracks. So I think that curriculum guide needs to be used and get professional development on using it and applying it properly with the resources that they have on hand.
Wagner says the resources may be different, but the guide will define the standards to be met and at what level. In Springfield, I'm Kathy Harrington.
And Bishop Byrne encourages parents and grandparents to seriously consider a Catholic education for their children and grandchildren. He calls a Catholic education a great and powerful gift. Well, last week, Pope Francis released his new encyclical on the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and it is being hailed as a simple and powerful cure for a fractured world. Joining me now is Father Sean O'Manion, pastor of Our Lady of Czestochowa Parish in Turners Falls, who has a strong devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Hi, Father Sean. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Hi, Sharon. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
So as I mentioned, Pope Francis came out with an encyclical on October 24th after announcing back in June that he wanted to say something significant to a world that seems to have lost its heart. You've read the Pope's writing, and so what do you think he's trying to teach us?
I'm delighted that this encyclical came out because it shows the importance of the devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, which I think a lot of people had forgotten about. And so I was surprised that he put out an encyclical about this. And so it's very timely for us in the world, obviously, because that's the Pope's domain. But for us as Americans at this particular point in our history, where we've gotten quite polarized, we really need to hear this message of the heart of Jesus of Nazareth, who is love incarnate, and the message that he has for us, his call to trust in him and to imitate him.
It seems like the Pope is really trying to refocus all of us on what is really essential in Christianity.
Yes, we can follow this exhortation of the Holy Father, and we can turn to him, and we can seek his help. It is, as Pope Francis says, reduced to us in particular as Americans, but this is exemplary of human beings who have lost their way, who have lost their heart. And we've become heartless towards one another. And Jesus Christ shows us how to do this, shows us to trust. And just as he went through everything he went through, trusting that he was carrying out the Father's will and motivated by the love of humanity, not focusing on all the evil things that we were doing to him, but knowing that we could do better. All we have to do is to raise up our eyes and our hearts to God, and trusting in that he went through with his passion, with his death. And if he went through that, the task that we have at hand, so to speak, is much less. No one's being asked to die. So, but we are being asked to love and to trust.
All right, Father Sean O'Manion, thanks so much for your insight and important and timely work for sure.
Well, thank you, Sharon. It's great to talk about the Sacred Heart.
And if you would like to read the encyclical in its entirety, we have a link to the whole document at iobserve.org. The Catholic Business Organization of Western Massachusetts hosted James Keyes as their keynote dinner speaker at their October meeting. Having an extensive background as the CEO of Blockbuster Video and 7-Eleven and having served on many boards, this Renaissance man has recently written a book and started a foundation. Nick Morganelli has our story.
The Catholic Business Organization began their October gathering, as they always do, with Mass. This one celebrated by Monsignor Chris Conley, who has been assigned as spiritual director to the group.
We're grateful tonight for the presence of Jim Keyes and for all who have come here tonight as I welcome you to our first Catholic Business Organization meeting here at Sacred Heart Church.
After Mass, the group gathered for conversation and fellowship at their dinner reception.
What I will describe tonight is the fact that I lead a very blessed life.
Jim described how he met up with childhood friends from his hometown in central Massachusetts and the question one of them posed to him.
Do you ever stop and think about how blessed you are? This Holy Spirit following you around, blessing you with whether you pick up a paintbrush, write music, and it makes it to the country charts. And you're not even a country singer, you know? And he said, you get in business and you get to run 2 Fortune 500 companies. Who does that? And he knows the way I was raised, which was in a 3-room shack in Grafton, Massachusetts.
With these inspiring words from his father, Jim's humble, simple, faith-filled beginnings became a foundation that he carried into adulthood.
My success is really attributable to a combination of faith and knowledge. And I think I've cracked the code. I like to think I've cracked the code on the ability to use the combination of faith and knowledge to accomplish virtually anything. Because those two powerful forces, faith and knowledge, eliminate all fear.
These are just some of the elements of his new book.
The book is titled Education is Freedom, but the subtitle is equally important. The future is in your hands. Any of us can lead extraordinary lives and do extraordinary things if we harness the power of knowledge and let our faith guide us to be able to solve any issue and to come together as humanity to make this world a better place.
Jim attributes his success to a gift he says was given to him on Christmas Eve, but it wasn't wrapped under the tree.
This gift came to my attention in a dream, and I believe I was visited by the Holy Spirit. I felt that I was in the presence of God in this dream, and I was told to do 3 things, and after accomplishing these 3 tasks, I was to get a gift.
Waking up from the dream before receiving the gift, Jim was beside himself.
I jumped out of bed, I wrote down 3 words: change, confidence, and clarity. And I shared those with my wife, and she reminded me, that is your gift. You have an uncanny ability to deal with change. You have the confidence to make it through any storm.
There was one last gift he questioned his wife about.
Well, what about that clarity thing? And she said, well, look, Jim, you're not really that smart. But you have an ability to take really complex stuff and break it down into simple terms.
One of the newest participants in the Catholic Business Organization owns this establishment in Holyoke, and he is enjoying the benefits of membership.
The part I enjoyed was divulging how some of the conflicts he ran into at the corporate world, and how his faith played into that, and some of the adversity he took, and how he turned lemon into lemonade in a lot of different ways. You know, it's just pretty inspiring.
And Pete already has a personal connection with some of the members.
These are people we share a lot in common with. A lot of people in the organization, our kids grew up with each other, and you face a common denominator. You know, I've taught CCD to some of these people's children. I think the Catholic Business Organization is a nice way to kind of mix business with our faith, bring it into the workplace every day. It's kind of a different world from trying to not be a Sunday-only Catholic.
Vice President Buzz Travers is already talking about the amazing lineup the group has for 2025.
To start the year off in January, we're going to have a speaker that's going to talk about a person whose name is Jimmy Lai. He's a billionaire from China, a huge businessman over there, and the Chinese government has imprisoned him because he's a Catholic.
They'll also host the co-founder of Hallow, one of the most downloaded Catholic mobile apps, as well as other great speakers. Membership is encouraged from those in the business community, and one can inquire about attending as a guest at an upcoming event. Inspired by faith-filled business leaders for Real to Real, I'm Nick Morganelli.
Western Mass business owners can inquire about membership with the Catholic Business Organization by contacting Buzz Travers at 413-262-6859. And still to come on Real to Real, with courage and honor, Steve Kiltonick sits down with author Dennis Pregent to discuss his latest book, highlighting the lives of Berkshire men and women who served in World War II. These moving tributes are just ahead on this edition of Real to Real.
Like Catholic TV on Facebook. Once you're there, you can join in on discussions, make friends with other Catholic TV fans, watch behind-the-scenes videos from the studio,
Just finished this today.
and stay up to date with the Catholic world. All this at facebook.com/CatholicTV.
Hi, Mom. What are you doing today?
Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence, an ideal rental setting for retirees to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We have bright 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, and wellness and entertainment programs. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Mom, call me when you're not so busy.
Here are some events coming up in Western Massachusetts. Mindful of Bishop Burns' recent letter on the upcoming election, the Office of Missionary Discipleship will host a patriotic prayer service on election evening, November 5th, beginning at 8 p.m., being held at Immaculate Conception Church on Parker Street in the Indian Orchard section of Springfield. This service will include adoration and the recitation of the Rosary. All are invited to take part. And you can read the bishop's letter at diospringfield.org. Next Saturday, November 9th, Christ the King Church will host a craft fair at the parish at 41 Warsaw Avenue in Ludlow from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. There will be many talented craft vendors as well as gift raffles, a 50-50 raffle, and light refreshments will be available. All are invited for a fun-filled day. Also, next Saturday, November 9th, Immaculate Heart of Mary Parish in Granby will be hosting their annual Salute to Our Veterans Dinner from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the Parish Hall at 256 State Street. Tickets are $15 and include a pork roast dinner with all the fixins. Tickets are available in the parish office and at the door. Eat in and take out is available. Contact the parish at 413-467-9821 for more information. And next Sunday, November 10th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., fall into the holidays at St. Jerome Parish in Holyoke. This event will be held at the Gym Building at 340 Chestnut Street in Holyoke and features a variety of vendors, handmade crafts, and holiday decorations. There will also be a 50-50 raffle and door prizes. Breakfast, lunch, and desserts will be for sale. Donate a canned or non-perishable item for a free raffle ticket. Again, that all takes place next Sunday, November 10th. For more information and details, contact Jenny McGivern at 413-250-2093. And we have more events listed on our calendar page at diospringfield.org. You can also submit calendar items by emailing them to calendar@diospringfield.org or by mail to Calendar Submissions in care of Catholic Communications, Box 1730, Springfield, Massachusetts 01102. In his most recent book, Berkshire native Dennis Pregent tells the tales of men and women who left the Berkshires to participate in the world's most consequential war, World War II. Steve Kiltonick sat down with the author recently in North Adams and spoke with him about the writing of Berkshire heroes in World War II with courage and honor.
On October 9th, Dennis Pregent was at the North Adams Library in the midst of a week-long swing through the Berkshires to promote his latest book, Berkshire Heroes in World War II with Courage and Honor. The last time I spoke with the North Adams native was 2020, when the Vietnam Marine veteran was in the area to speak about his first book, in which he told the stories of fellow vets who attended St. Joseph's High School in North Adams. Since then, Dennis has written Born in the Berkshires and Berkshire Patriots, Stories of Sacrifice, which takes readers on a journey covering 4 centuries of conflict. All 4 books profile individuals from 3 select towns or cities in the Berkshires: Adams, Cheshire, North Adams, and Williamstown. Berkshire Heroes in World War II chronicles the stories of 28 sons and daughters who answered their country's call to arms and survived some of the war's bloodiest battles. All later returned to their beloved Berkshire Hills to resume their old lives or start new ones. Pregent's interest in World War II goes back to his childhood days growing up in Greylock, a small section of North Adams.
My dad and all my uncles, I had 4 or 5 uncles, had all served. And I used to sit at 5 years old, sit near the picnic table and hear their stories.
While searching for potential veterans for the book, Pregent contacted local VA reps, town historians, and family members.
I was so impressed by these young men and women who'd never been more than 50 miles from home. Now were going hundreds of miles away to be trained and then overseas, not knowing where they were going. 50% were Catholics and the others from Protestant faiths. Many were mill workers, laborers, teachers. They served in places from Africa to Sicily to the Himalayas, the broad Pacific, Okinawa, the Battle of the Bulge.
Pregent found one common thread among all of them:
selflessness. Some were drafted, most volunteered, but just a willingness to serve the country in a time of need.
The Veterans Memorial here in downtown North Adams features a World War II wall with the names of 9 veterans Pregent featured in his book. Included among those is a paratrooper who met General Eisenhower on the eve of D-Day. Henry St. Pierre was one of 14 children born to French Catholic parents. When war broke out, he enlisted and volunteered for the paratroopers, serving with the 101st Airborne.
They're elite forces for sure, for sure. You jump out of a plane in the middle of the night, not knowing what you're facing in enemy territory. It was hundreds of gliders that did it, and many paratroopers perished.
Pregent interviewed St. Pierre's nephew, who told him,
Henry said that he was in that picture with Eisenhower, and I believe that picture is Echo Company the night before they jumped into Normandy.
Henry survived D-Day, was wounded, and went on to participate in other major battles, including the Battle of the Bulge, where he was captured and served as a POW.
In captivity, the Germans learned he was a Catholic and pushed him on giving up his religion or relinquishing it or saying, I don't believe anymore, and he refused to.
St. Pierre was decorated for heroism, returned home, was married, had 2 daughters, and opened a barbershop. He died at age 59. Ferdinando Berti was born in Cheshire and attended St. Stanislaus in Adams. He enlisted in the Navy, where he was selected for the PT Boat Squadron as a radio man.
PT boats were brand new, and there was a lot of charisma in getting in, joining them.
Early in the war, a lieutenant who would later captain the famous PT-109 was sent Bertie's way.
One of the first PT boat groups to come in to get trained, Kennedy came in, John F. Kennedy, the former president, and he trained him on operating the radio.
Bertie served in the Philippines as a PT boat gunner in the Pacific's major battles, his crew sinking many Japanese boats. Ferdy, as he was called, returned home, married, had 2 sons, and began a 30-year career with the John Hancock Life Insurance Company. Bob Nichols from North Adams was a Navy seaman gunner on the battleship USS Missouri, where the Japanese peace signing in Tokyo Bay took place.
He got to see a number of the dignitaries come on board his boat, MacArthur, a few others that signed the peace treaty.
Nichols later worked in a textile mill, drove a truck, and was a handyman. He had a son, 2 daughters, and a wonderful 68-year marriage. He died in 2020. Others in the book include William Linscott from Adams.
He won the championship downhill ski race on the Thunderbolt Mountain. It's located in Adams when he was 16.
Linscott joined the Ski Corps as a rifleman with the 10th Mountain Division.
Spent most of his time in the mountains of Italy around Mount Serra until he was wounded by an airburst.
Bill recovered from injuries, came home, married, had 2 daughters, and a long 40-year career in the insurance industry. He passed in 2001. Joe Zasloff from Williamstown became a radio operator with the 26th Yankee Infantry Division.
He was sent into a special skills school because he was so smart.
Zasloff fought his way across Germany and after returning taught political science at the University of Pittsburgh for 49 years, wrote 9 books, and became a well-known authority on Indochina. Roger Dennett, also from Williamstown, was stationed in Hawaii when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor.
They come across a Japanese mini-sub. The sub had grounded. One of its members was dead. The other one was alive. They were 2-man submarines. They captured the first POW of the war.
Dennett went on to fly 60 combat missions as a gunner with the 409th Bombardment Group. The only living World War II veteran Pregent spoke with was Cheshire's Narciso Massaconi, who just turned 102. Chizo, as he's called, enlisted and became a radar operator in the Army Anti-Aircraft Gun Battalion. He ended up on Iwo Jima, fighting in one of the bloodiest battles of the Pacific.
And he talked about the black sands that are it's hard to dig a foxhole in them. And he talked about the struggling to dig a foxhole and the heat and the bullets.
Chizo returned to Cheshire, married, had 6 children, and returned to his job at General Electric. He continued to play baseball locally and enjoyed hunting and fishing well into his 90s. Other veterans include Elizabeth McNichol from Williamstown, who served in the Army Nurse Corps in Europe.
They just kept going out day after day, putting themselves in harm's way and how difficult it would be, but they did it anyways.
Pregent said the book offered him the chance to preserve history and honor the legacy of these mostly silent heroes who once lived among us.
They came home, got married, had children, went back to work, and didn't complain about anything. They just resumed their lives.
The greatest generation, resilient, patriotic, and courageous men and women who sacrificed so much for all of us. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
And for those interested in purchasing Berkshire Heroes in World War II, the book can be found on Amazon. Pregent is already working hard on his 5th book, which will focus on the Berkshires and the Civil War. We really look forward to that release. And for this week, that's Real to Real. Be sure to follow the latest news of the Catholic Church, both here in Western Massachusetts and around the world, on our news and information website, iobserve.org. There you can find articles prepared by our Catholic Communications reporting team and our partners at Our Sunday Visitor. That's iobserve.org. And we are also on Facebook, so follow us there at Catholic Communications. Before we leave you, all of us at Catholic Communications send birthday greetings to Mary Mosley from the Berkshires. Mary, who along with her late husband, Deacon William Mosley, introduced and helped to run the impactful Residents Encounter Christ program in the Berkshire House of Correction. Today, Mary turns 99. Happy birthday, Mary. And join me next week at this same time for another edition of Real to Real, your window on the world around you. Enjoy your week.
Real to Real is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.